Hello, this is Dylan from Dodson Watches, and today we have a white dial vintage Submariner case NH35A movement build. These are the parts you'll need for a watch build: a strap, automatic movement, case, hands, and dial. This slide will show the sizes of each part. I'm always careful to double and triple check compatibility when ordering parts. In these next three slides, you'll see all the tools needed to build a watch from start to finish. You will need many different sizes of tweezers, files, and screwdrivers. Eye loops are very important for watch building. You'll need between 5 and 25 magnification. I prefer 15 times magnification for second hand setting. To start our watch build, we'll need to get the dial attached to the movement. Each dial comes with between 2 and 4 dial feet. Depending on the crown position of the watch, we must figure out and remove the unneeded dial feet. This build is a 3 o'clock crown position, so I'll line the dial up with the date window where it's supposed to be and see which dial feet line up with those holes. I'll remove the ones that do not line up. To do this, I grip the dial feet at the base and wiggle them back and forth with a pair of steel tweezers. I'll do this until they fall off on their own. This dial only came with 4 sets of dial feet, but some will have as many as 6. Once we successfully remove the unneeded dial feet, you'll notice left behind are 2 nubs where they once were. These nubs will need to be removed. I do this by filing them away. Using a very small file, I carefully file the nubs until I no longer feel resistance. I'm careful not to injure the remaining dial feet, as for we'll need these to place the dial onto the movement. File until it's completely flat. Once the nubs are filed away, we can place our dial onto the movement. Line up the remaining dial feet with the holes in the gray ring around the movement. Press the dial onto the movement and make sure there's no gaps. This is an important step to ensure there's enough room for the hands on the cannon pinion. Once we have our dial secured, we can pull our crown to the third position. Once in third position, turn the crown away from you very slowly until you see the date switch. This now confirms that our time is 12 a.m. and prepares us for hand application. Pause for a wrist check. What a beautiful Dodson custom watch.
Wow!
Now time for watch hand application. I like to use a watch cleaning stick with Rodco applied to the end. This tool allows me to accurately align the hour hand to the 12 o'clock hour marker. I then use my plastic tip hand pusher to press the hand onto the cannon pinion. I'm sure to press it all the way onto the pinion as to make room for the minute hand. Following the same technique, I'll line the minute hand up with the 12 o'clock hour marker and press it fully onto the cannon pinion. Hand alignment when placing the hands is extremely important. They must be at 12 o'clock so that our date will switch precisely as the clock turns 12. After placing each hand, I pull the crown back to the third position and run the hands manually around the dial to make sure there's no obstructions. I also want to make sure the hands are exactly where they're supposed to be for each time. Now we have to set our second hand. The second hand is different in that it sits on top of the pinion instead of having a hole that the pinion goes through. I like to use a 15 times magnification so that I can clearly see the second hand sitting onto the pinion. I like to think of it like a hat. Once I have the hat over top the pinion, I give it a tap with my flat hand pusher. This will secure the hand enough in the correct position so that I can firmly press it onto the pinion. With our second hand set, we can now take our crown and press it into the first position. This will start the watch, and the second hand should start ticking away. If it does not start ticking, wind it a few times and make sure the second hand is in the proper position. Then take the entire movement and flip it over to the rotor side is exposed. This will allow us to remove the crown stem. Find the crown stem release and press it gently while pulling the crown stem. We can now flip the movement back onto our soft movement holder and place our case over top our movement and handset. I carefully place the case over the movement and press it on. It takes very little force to press the case onto the movement. I then flip it over and press the movement into the watch case. I can then take my uncut crown stem and screw the crown onto it. Now, twisting and gently pushing, I put the crown stem into the watch. With the crown stem in the movement, I use my digital caliper to determine how much of the crown stem needs removed. Measure from the crown to the watch case. For this watch, it's showing we need to remove 7.3 millimeters from the total size of the crown stem. Once accurately measured, remove the stem from the watch. Remove our crown and then measure the entire crown stem. Once you have it accurately measured, zero out our electronic caliper. Then remove 7.3 millimeters. This is the measurement that our crown stem will need to be cut down to. This is the best method I have found for cutting the crown stem. I grab my crown stem with my tweezers at the place where it needs to be cut. I then use my stem cutters to remove the excess crown stem. Make sure that we are only trimming the side with threads. Once we have trimmed it down to size, take a file and file away any burrs on the end of the crown stem. We are now ready to Loctite our crown stem. I like to take the crown stem and dip it directly into the Loctite and then screw my crown on. Make sure the crown is screwed completely on and it is the proper length. Wipe away any excess Loctite. Once the stem is clean, place the crown stem back into the movement. Now to grease our O-ring and place it into position. There is a groove in the watch case in which the O-ring will seat itself into. Seating this O-ring is extremely important. If it is done correctly, this watch will truly be waterproof to 100 feet or 30 bar. We now have a completed watch. We can set our date and then our time. I'll screw down the crown and not disrupt it for 24 hours so the blue Loctite can set in place. This build has come out absolutely awesome. I love that blue bezel and the blue second hand. They match perfectly. The white dial sets it all off. I've decided to install a quick release blue rubber strap. With the quick release strap system, you can easily replace it with a brown leather strap that would complement the classic style of this watch. Now for our customary wrist roll. What a beautiful watch. Please like and subscribe to Dodson Custom Watches. Thank you.